only one of you is going to make it out alive.
Supergirl, which is based on the 2021 to 2022 comic book series Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which is really damn good. If you haven't read the source material for this movie, I recommend reading it. It's really damn good. I heard this great saying, picture this as the director's cut of the movie, because they followed the book pretty well. There's a lot of moments from it. The core, I'll say the core story is there. The spine of it is there. Like what carries on with the story, and they have little changes here and there. Plus Lobo's in it, and Lobo's is not in the comic book version. So, but you get extra stuff in there. I was kind of looking forward to the blue and green town. I was kind of looking forward to seeing that in live action, but that didn't happen. But anyway, but look, this movie has a lot of discords. Understandable discords online, just people who just didn't like the movie. And then you got the fuckery. The ones who just say this movie's gonna suck because for them the most important thing is the actress. The most important thing is Supergirl giving them a stiffy. I'm sorry. Are you 12? You know what? That's offensive towards 12-year-olds who say, "Well, I'm not going to see this movie because I wouldn't rank it, because I don't find it attractive." And it's like, fuck off. That's not the most important thing. The most important thing is acting ability. Thank you very much. The end. But anyway, I just saw the film, and I will say this: with all, we only have 2 DC films at this point in this new universe. We got Superman, now Supergirl. I will say this: Superman is the better movie, and Supergirl is just fine. Which I understand is internet code for shit, but I will say this: it is just fine. Fine. It reminds me of a lot of a phase 1 early, it feels like growing pains. It feels like, we have Iron Man, which was Superman, and now we are on Incredible Hulk, the first Thor, and the first Captain America, and Iron Man 2. To be fair, I quite like Iron Man 2 and Incredible Hulk and the first Cap. But say it as you may, it's the growing pain period. We need it's them learning what works, what doesn't work. How do we keep going? And maybe one of the things is James Gunn doesn't direct a film every 2 years. Maybe after Man Tomorrow he step aside and have someone else direct a Justice League movie or whatever, what have you. But once again, repeat, I think the movie is just fine. What I would say is, I think the main culprit of the reason it's just fine is that this movie moves in such a quick pace that there's no time to breathe in the story. Superman moves in a quick pace. It is a killer no filler type of editing, pacing type movie. And they tried to do the same thing with Supergirl. And now, understand me so, maybe that's the mindset that James Gunn and Peter Safran has with hey, not every comic movie needs to be 2.5 hours long. Let's try and make these movies at least slightly under or slightly over 2 hours. Let's not make every single one 2.5 hours, right? So maybe that's the mindset. But for a movie that is dealing with these themes of revenge and trauma and lifting up your spirits and all that, all that kind of stuff, I will say that this movie needed an extra 10 minutes. This movie is slightly under 2 hours. it's 1 hour and 50 minutes. This movie needed that extra 10 minutes to have that emotional hook. I feel like also all the stuff with the stuff on Krypton and the Kara's origin story should have moved way into the front of it, so we all have that emotional hook of what happens in the story and what Kara is going through. Because she's a party girl at the beginning of this movie. It starts, frame one, she's a party girl. And she's, going to planet, getting drunk and partying and so forth and so forth. And you have Superman basically saying to Kara, like, hey, I'm just a little bit worried, like, can I think it's time for you to go back to Earth. Let's talk about stuff. I want you to, fit in. I want you to fit into this, fit into this culture that this planet that I grew up that I love and all that. But Kara's dealing with the loss of Krypton and everyone she loves and adores, because that's the difference between her and Superman, which is Clark never knew Krypton, she did, so that's the big the trauma aspect of her and why she's acting the way that she's acting. And I felt like if you just move all that Krypton stuff at the beginning of the movie, it would just sing a lot better. And also Rufy, because Rufy's whole thing, now one of the big changes in the book is it's Quem on the Yellow Heels just kills her father in the book. In this movie, he kills the entire family. And the big brother just popping out, I think the idea was like, oh, he's saving his sister. It just comes across like he just pops out of nowhere. Like it just looks like he just popped out of nowhere. But what we needed to have that emotional hook with Rufy is to see them as a regular family. See how she loves her brother, loves her her dad, loves her mother. So when Quem does what he does, we have that emotional hook. We need those moments in this movie to have us have the feels and wanting us to go on this journey with these two characters. Like the performances are good. Amelia Alcock, great as like this version of Supergirl. Jason Momoa as Lobo, duh. He's, of all the people saying he's just playing, is Jason Momoa playing as Lobo? It's like, because he's been playing Lobo for the last, like, he was playing a Lobo as Aquaman, or, strangely enough, right? So he works really well as Lobo. So the performances are good. Quem, though, I mean, look, I understand. Quem in this, he's like a typical Marvel, like, a Marvel villain. Like, he's just there so the plot can move forward. He's there to reach the hero's journey. He's the goal. We need to find Quem. Kara and Rufy need to go to planet to find Quem, and that's the goal. By the way, the popping heading to planet could have been smoother. I felt like, okay, there's no flow here. There's no flow in the like the movie really kicks in. Only enough when Krypton starts, the backstory starts happening when we get the context. But which is like 45 minutes. The first 45, it doesn't hit until like 45 minutes in, and maybe an hour in. So but I say that there's no smooth transition in that first 45 minutes, and there's this whole scene on a bus. That I was like, why are we here? Why are we doing this bus scene? And I said to myself, when it ended, I went, oh, okay, it's there to show Kara. A lot of people be like, is Supergirl going to do any Supergirl stuff? Is she going to use any of her powers? Is she going to do any of that kind of thing? And in reality, I felt like you could have to save it till the third act. her doing Supergirl stuff, but again, people would be a little bit impatient for that. And also see Wolfie going, "Oh my god, it's you!" And that is it a little bit disappointing that, like, for me as a fan of the comic, that we didn't get any of these lovely visuals in live action. Yeah, kind of sucks. And that the action's pretty good. I mean, by the third act, like the big superhero third act action sequence, I thought it worked pretty well. I thought it went, I thought it did a really good job. The Guardians of the Galaxy comparison, just because we're doing needle drops, I'm like, look, I get Craig Gillespie, James Gunn, they both do needle drops in their movies. That's kind of their thing. And we're in space. So, and I'm wondering if James Gunn wasn't the co-CEO of DC, that we would be kind of saying, oh, it just feels like Guardians of the Galaxy. But again, the general audience likes Guardians of the Galaxy, so the stuff that we're complaining about doesn't really compute for the average Joe, because they've only seen there's only 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies, so they need something to replace that hole, right? So, but yeah, I thought this movie was just fine. I thought this film was fine. The performances are great. The action's pretty good. The last hour, 50 minutes of the movie, 45 minutes of the last hour of the movie starts kicking in, and I thought, okay, now I'm digging the film a little bit more. And that, by the way, I have a feeling that the last scene of the movie was originally the post-credit scene, and then they went, fuck it, let's just make that the last scene of the movie. Oh, and Superman. David Corsair as Superman. Chef Kiss, absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. When he shows up, you can't help but have a massive smile on your face. So yeah. Anyway, if you've seen the movie, and please, for the love of God, if you are going to comment, for the love of God, be fucking civilized, please.
What's Superman like?
He sees the good in everyone, and I see the truth.